What message do you have to Prince fans?
Just keep saying prayers for everyone, for the family.
There was no sign of this. This is just...
You know, everyone gets sick once in a while. We don't know. We're going to fight.
Sheila E was the last person Prince really trusted. And now, word on the street is she's finally letting the truth slip. And what she's allegedly saying, it's got people straight up shook. Folks are whispering that Prince was trying to warn us, and some even believe Diddy didn't want him around long enough to do it. See, some fans are convinced Prince wasn't just about to talk music rights. Nah, it was way deeper than that. We're talking secrets buried inside the industry.
Did you hear anything about who found him, how he was found, or the 911 call or anything like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
And I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here to get to the bottom of it, though, it sounds like.
We pretty much know what's going on, but, you know, all we want to do is just talk about the man, the musician.
Twisted rituals, manipulation, and straight-up exploitation that nobody was supposed to speak on. And guess whose name keeps popping up when these shady convos come up? Diddy's. Again. Coincidence? Maybe. But now Sheila E, who's kept it quiet for years, is allegedly speaking out. And what she's supposedly revealing? It's bone-chilling. Sources say she believes Prince was trying to shield the world from a truth so heavy, people just weren't ready to handle it. This wasn't just about fame and fortune. This was about survival in an industry that eats its own. Let's rewind real quick. Sheila E met Prince back in 1977 while performing with her pops at a concert. By 1984, she had signed with Warner Brothers and teamed up with Prince on her debut solo album, The Glamorous Life.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
Prince didn't just write on it, he played on it too, making it a straight-up hit. Then boom! Sheila E opened for Prince during his legendary Purple Rain tour in '84 and '85. But it didn't stop there. She later signed to his label, Paisley Park Records, and even became the musical director for his Sign of the Times and Love Sexy tours. These two were locked in, creatively, professionally, and something deeper too. She wasn't just in the studio with him. She was on stage, on tour, and even in his Sign of the Times concert film. They rocked the Brit Awards together. She stood by him on tour in 2007. But behind the glam, the lights, and the applause, there was something else going on. Something real, something private, something only Sheila E might truly know. And now, she might just be ready to tell it. Fans still whisper about this moment like it was magic, because it was. During a live performance, Prince locked eyes with Sheila E across the stage, and right there in the heat of the moment, he mouthed two wild words: "Marry me." No script, no setup, just raw, real emotion. And word is, they actually got briefly engaged after that. But the wedding never happened. Now here's where things get murky. Reports claim that Sheila E and Prince hadn't spoken in the 5 years before his passing, in 2016. They said the fallout came from her autobiography, The Beat of My Own Drum, where she opened up about their personal relationship. But what if that's not how it really went down? Sources close to the situation are saying something totally different. Allegedly, Sheila and Prince did reconnect toward the end of his life.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. There's nothing minor about you. You are a blessed people. You're the most talented on earth, and you are still grateful. That is why upon winning in their game, you always thank God. Tonight I would like to ask one favor of you. Imagine what we'll all be like in our own game. Peace and love for one another.
So basically, we only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900, some in the hundreds, okay? And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music or EMI or Sony ever in public.
And not just on some surface level, Prince allegedly confided in her. He spilled the tea about the dark truths of the music game, and Diddy's name was supposedly right in the middle of it. See, Prince never held back when it came to calling out the power players, the ones who twisted the industry from behind the scenes. He warned about shadowy figures, controlling artists, silencing voices, and rewriting the narrative. And one name that keeps coming up in these convos? Diddy. The question is, was Prince about to put it all out there? Let's not forget, Prince was obsessed with artist independence. He hated the idea of being owned. Remember when he wrote slave on his face? That wasn't just a statement. It was a scream for freedom. He was loud and clear. Artists deserve control over their music, their image, their everything. Back in 1977, Prince signed with Warner Music at just 18 years old. Between 78 and 81, his albums didn't blow up like crazy, but Warner stuck with him. Why? Because he wasn't just a singer, he was a musical force. Warner knew they had something rare. Then boom, 1982 hit. MTV had just launched and Prince played it smart. He dropped new music and finally cracked the US top 10. But here's the game changer. Prince understood the power of the music video before most artists even caught on. He didn't just make songs, he built a whole mythos around himself. And that myth? It was his weapon, and maybe his curse. After stamping his legacy all over the music world, Prince wasn't about to play the industry's game forever. He launched his own label, Paisley Park Records. But here's the kicker. Warner Bros. Helped fund it and handle the distribution. Sounds like freedom, right? Nah, even then, Prince started calling them out for underpaying him and playing him dirty behind the scenes. And get this, yep, we're talking about that same Warner Brothers that was in bed with Diddy. They didn't just collab, they cut a major deal. Warner secured a 50% stake in Bad Boy Records. That meant they were running both the digital and physical distribution of Diddy's whole catalog worldwide.
There are reports that say that the landing last week was a treatment for some sort of drug overdose, whether prescription or illicit. Did you ever have any signs of drug use? Did you ever see any signs of drug use with him lately that would end up in something like this?
No, not at all.
We're talking Mace, Mario Winans, Biggie, and of course Diddy himself were all part of the package. When the deal dropped, Diddy went public saying, "There have been a lot of boutique labels that come and go, and we're still here." He bragged about locking in financial backing, the perfect setup, and strong partnerships to stay a dominant force in the game. Sounds powerful, right? But here's what nobody wanted to admit. The same shady treatment Prince got from Warner, Diddy allegedly gave that same energy to his own artists under Bad Boy. Just look at Lil Jerome. When folks asked if leaving the label was his own decision, his answer hit hard. He said, "It was a mixture of the growing pains and the pressure of the music business. I had a nervous breakdown, and it was in Puffy's best interest not to keep the project." Let that sink in. Lil Jerome had 13 songs locked, loaded, and ready for release. But after breaking down, the whole project got shelved. He didn't leave by choice. He was pushed out by the cold mechanics of an industry that eats artists alive when they're no longer profitable. So, while Prince was screaming for freedom and trying to break chains, Diddy was allegedly building his own empire off the same blueprint. just passing the pain down the line. And guess what? Diddy didn't even flinch. When artists were going through the worst moments of their lives, he treated them like they were just business tools. Take Carl Thomas, for example. Dude was mourning the loss of his brother. And what did Diddy do? Called him up a week later, asking when he'd be back in the studio because he had hits waiting. Like, no empathy, no pause, just straight back to work like nothing even happened. Then there's Biggie. Yeah, the notorious one. According to Diddy's ex-bodyguard Gene Deal, Biggie was actually getting ready to leave Bad Boy for a better deal somewhere else. That's right, he was planning his exit. But after Biggie's tragic death, Diddy reportedly wasn't grieving. He was pushing his employees to go full throttle on sales. The focus wasn't on honoring Big's life. It was on making Life After Death hit number one on every chart possible. Top 10, top 10, top 10, over and over. No time to mourn, just chase the numbers. And before Diddy even got hit with that first wave of lawsuits, he was already in headlines for something else. A sudden, generous move to give publishing rights back to artists on Bad Boy, even former ones. But don't get it twisted. It wasn't out of kindness. Aubrey O'Day stepped up and said she had received the publishing deal details months before. She wasn't buying it. And turns out, a bunch of other artists got similar calls offering to return rights to their own music. But of course, there was a catch. Insiders say this whole gift was actually a slick way for Diddy to keep control and shut people up. Give them a little taste of freedom so they don't speak out. But what he didn't count on? People finally putting the puzzle pieces together? Allegedly, Prince saw this all happening way before it hit the public eye. He peeped the game, and if he shared even a fraction of what he knew with Sheila E, then it makes total sense why she's just now starting to talk. The truth Prince carried might have died with him, but now it's coming back full circle. And the ones he warned about, they're finally getting that spotlight turned right back on them. According to sources close to her, Sheila E has allegedly been saying that Prince saw the truth about this industry way before the rest of us caught on. He knew the game was rigged. The exploitation, the stolen ownership, the way artists get used up and tossed aside like trash. He didn't hold back either. He called it modern-day slavery, and he made it clear. The labels were out here stealing legacies and crushing dreams. Prince wanted to drop names, and some believe he already started doing just that. For years, Sheila E kept it respectful whenever she talked about Prince, always honoring his memory with grace. But now, nearly 10 years after his passing, she's allegedly starting to pull back the curtain, slowly, subtly, and with intention. She's mentioned that Prince carried a weight on his shoulders, something dark, something deep, and that he rarely ever spoke about it publicly. But behind closed doors, he was spilling the truth to people he trusted. And Sheila E, she was one of the few who got the full story. Prince wasn't just battling for his own masters, he was on a mission to expose the whole operation. He warned that some of the biggest names in the music game were playing God with people's lives, controlling their futures, crushing their freedom. And with everything going down lately, especially the chaos surrounding Diddy's legal battles, folks are finally starting to connect the dots that Prince tried to map out years ago. And here's the most chilling part. Sources say Prince knew his time was almost up. Just days before his death, he posted a haunting photo of himself with a now-deleted caption that read, "Just when you thought you were safe." That's not random, that's a message. At his final appearance at Paisley Park, after what was reported as a treatment visit, Prince looked out at the crowd and allegedly told them, "Wait a few days before you waste any prayers." Then, like he had predicted, he was gone. Prince was found unresponsive at his Minnesota estate at just 57 years old. Officials ruled it an accidental fentanyl overdose, saying he took fake Vicodin laced with the deadly synthetic opioid, but even Sheila E has said that never quite added up. This story isn't over. It's just getting started. If you made it this far, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more wild truth and real talk that the industry doesn't want you hearing. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We see everything. And we'll catch you on the next one. Stay woke.